I'm trying to remind myself that in any situation, I could be the issue, right?
Yep.
And I think it's easy sometimes, and with like naively or with good intention to think, I know I'm right in this, and they got to be wrong because that doesn't make any sense, or it's foolish, or it's illogical, or it's whatever. But I have found in almost every one of those seasons, if I am able to check my own heart first, then it begins to lay the groundwork of really kind of thinking critically through, and it positions my heart in the right place to hear from God, allow the Holy Spirit to reveal something if there's an issue. And like I said, it's never as simple as they're wrong, I'm right, or I'm wrong, they're right. It's always very nuanced. But if I can position my heart to hear from the Holy Spirit and admit that I could be wrong in some things, then it allows me to pace through that season with some clarity.
Yeah, I had a situation like this in my own life where one of the churches that I was at, the lead pastor and I had a lot of friction in our relationship, a lot of tension, and it was really difficult, really challenging. I remember walking through it and thinking, I just want to leave. I just want to leave. And I actually had an opportunity, which for me at the time felt like a dream opportunity. Great friend of mine said, hey, do you want to come, work for me? And someone I really respect and looked up to. And on paper, it was like, gosh, this is God's answer to prayer, is a dream. And I remember praying about it, and very clearly the Lord said, no, you're supposed to stay where you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, and I didn't want to do it. But I remember having that mindset during that time, which you just described, which is I have so much to teach my lead pastor. He's in the wrong. I'm in the right. And there were a lot of things that I was justified in feeling that way. And so if you're a youth pastor right now and you're feeling that way, we're not saying that you are not justified in what you're feeling. However, because I knew that God had told me to stay put, I started to work on trying to go, how do I figure him out more? How do I help him figure out my heart more?
Yeah.
What is he not seeing in me that he needs to? And for this particular situation, one of the things that I realized is for this lead pastor, he really valued loyalty, and there was some perception that maybe that wasn't quite there, or I hadn't proven that yet, and that maybe my personality is I tend to be a critical thinker. I'm not afraid to kind of share my opinion, and I'm definitely not a yes man. And if you have that personality, but they don't trust that you're for the organization, there can be a lot of question marks.
Sure, yeah.
And so I finally kind of realized that. And as I started to work more and more on the relationship, what I realized is what you just described, which is there was a lot of stuff in my own heart that was as much of the problem.
Yeah.
And that God, as he started to work in my heart, and I can't control this other person. I couldn't control my lead pastor. But as he started to work in my heart and I started to humble myself and try to figure this out, what ended up happening is wild, where over time the relationship got better and better and better. And at the end of my time, because I'm not at that church anymore, to this day, I view that person as a spiritual father, as a friend, as someone that I love that man.
Yeah, and imagine if you quit the process early, right?
Yeah.
There'd
Oh,
probably
my
be
gosh.
bitterness in your heart. There'd still be
100%.
anger. Certainly that door would be closed.
We wouldn't have relationship. I still call him now when I have issues in my life.